So life's been pretty busy with quite a bit of stuff going on. Had a lot of things going on, and I just wanted to kind of sit down and do a quick overview on part one of this rifle build that I'm doing. I'll also do a small update on the Cobra. Not too much going on with that because we're still pretty much in winter right now, but we're starting to come out of it. But I do have a little bit of info on it, so I'll include that towards the end of the video. But what I wanted to cover in this one was the rifle build that I'm doing. It's a completely custom build with parts that I assembled, and eventually this will all be a complete rifle. But today I have the chassis system, the scope mounts, and the scope that I'll be putting on this. These are like some of the major components. I had the barrel and the action, the bolt action in the last video, but those are currently sent off to the gunsmith to be worked on, to get assembled and make sure the headspace and everything is correct. And I'll be getting that back sometime in March, which is when I'm filming this. So once I get that back, I'll be able to assemble it onto the chassis system and mount the scope, and I'll have a completely functioning rifle at that point. But I wanted to go over these components today and just give you the basic overview of what I'm building this gun for, and not really the price point. I'll do a price point when it's all done because there's still other components I haven't bought yet. But this is what I consider like a mid-tier build. It's not a really high-end build, and it's not a budget build. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. So to start out with the scope rings, I have a set of Area 419. They don't like to be called 419. I'm not sure why, but these are really, really well precision scope rings, as many are now. You'll hear a lot of people still say if you should lap your scope rings, and that's pretty much a thing of the past. Modern machining is so precise and accurate now that lapping scope rings is, you do more damage to them by doing that than you would have taken them out of the box and mounting your scope on them. These are a set of Area 419 rings, or Area 419. They're raw aluminum on the inside, and they have a real good biting force on the scope itself. And these are considered one of the best scope rings to get right now. They're very well regarded, and a lot of people like using these, and I wanted to give them a try. I had a Vortex precision rings on my last rifle that I built. I didn't build, but the last one that I bought. So I'm going to try these ones out and see how they work out for me. And when I do get the barrel and the bolt action back, I will tell you what those are. I'd rather do that when I have them in front of me instead of, explaining what they are. That's why I'm doing this with the components that I have now, because they are in front of me. But the chassis system that I bought is an MDT Premier ACC Gen 2, and I went back and forth on quite a bit on what chassis system I wanted to buy, either MDT or one of the other manufacturers out there that have really good options as well. And I just decided to settle on MDT. Overall, there are a few gripes I have about it, just from the initial onset. One is that I don't like this grip a whole lot. They have another grip that I plan on buying. I think will be more comfortable than this one. And the fact that it doesn't have a folding stock. This is one of the chassis system they have that didn't have a folding stock, but they told me that for 2025 they were updating this platform and they would be having a folding stock option for this. So for the time being, I decided to just bite the bullet and get it without the folding stock. The reason why I want a folding one is just for safe space saving reasons, either in the case or in a safe or something like that. It's just the barrel that I got is 26 inches long plus a muzzle brake on the end, so it takes up a lot of room, and I just didn't want to have that issue of a space problem with it. Now, to round out probably it is the most expensive part about this build, I went back and forth quite a bit on what I wanted to get for a scope, as far as if I should keep my Strike Eagle that I had on my Tikka, or should I jump up to that next tier level of glass and next tier quality of scope? And I decided to get a Razor HD Gen 2. This is a 4.5 by 27 by 56 for the zoom power. And I think this, I love the color too. Some people have a problem with the color of this. I absolutely love it. I love this matte bronze color. I think it will look really, really good mounted on this chassis system like this. I think it's going to be a really cool build when it's done. And there's other accessories going on this, like weights and stuff like that for the buttstock. I'm getting the pads that go in the holes in the back, weights that go on the rail, and weights that go in the rail. That's all stuff that I'm adding as well. But this scope is quite an expensive scope overall, but the quality and everything I've seen about these Razor Gen 2s is really, really good. And I could have got the Razor Gen 3. It really wasn't that much more, but I couldn't really justify it. I guess one of the big things with the Gen 3 over the Gen 2 that I read is that the Gen 2 is heavier, but for me this is going to be a bench rest gun. I don't care about weight. I'm adding as much weight to this as I possibly can, so having a heavier scope wasn't a big deal to me. But the other thing is that the Gen 3 does have better glass than the Gen 2, but the glass in the Gen 2 is significantly better than what was in the Strike Eagle that I had on my Tikka. So overall, it's still an upgrade. And, you know, until it's mounted on the rifle and I really set the eye relief and everything else on, I really won't be able to get a good indication of how good the scope is. You know, I've held it up and tried to, you know, look through it and stuff like that, but it's really hard to do that holding it up and get like a reference of how it compares to the other scope that I had. And this does come with a sunshade for it. I did buy this new. I bought it through Euro Optic. It was the cheapest place that I could find it. They did have a 15% discount when I bought it, so that does help. And just some tools to help take the caps off and stuff like that. And in the caps, not the caps, but the turrets on this are so nice. Really nice clicks and turns on it. And I did get this in MRAD. My Strike Eagle is a MOA scope. I really wanted to try MRAD. I wanted to learn the platform. And I think it will, overall, I think I'll like shooting MRAD more so than MOA. Time will tell, but I think overall I like it better. I think this is going to be an excellent, excellent scope, and I can't wait to have it on the gun and actually try it out. Now, as far as any Cobra updates that I have, things have been really, really slow in that area just because of the time of year. Getting more motivation to get stuff rolling now as spring is getting closer. As I mentioned in the last video, I believe I did mention it, that the car is scheduled to go back to Cobra Dan. I have a coolant leak issue to take care of. There is something I'm going to try here at home to try to resolve that. If that doesn't work on its own, then it will be going back down to Cobra Dan to have him, you know, completely fix that and do the oil change in the spring. And as far as like any updates go, I did order the SNS kit for the Cadillac Brembos. So once I get the SNS kit here, I'll be able to get it installed on the Cadillac Brembo calipers that I have, that I showed in the last video. I'll do a quick test fit on the Cobra just to make sure that everything is okay, and then I'll have them sent off to be powder coated, and then I can do the install in the garage once that's all set up. So kind of a short video, just kind of wanted to get something out there for content since it's been a little dry on my channel as of late. Wintertime is just a terrible time to try to put anything out when you have a car-related channel, or doing guns too, because ranges aren't open during the wintertime and it sucks to shoot in the cold. But the weather is getting better. If you guys have any questions about this chassis system, I'm not an expert on it, but feel free to ask down in the comments. Answer as much as I can. This is pretty adjustable. It does have the mag release here for either right or left hand, adjustable back here. You can pull these sections out if you want to make the stock shorter or longer, and it's got an adjustable cheek riser here. It's got a thumb shelf here to rest your thumb on when shooting. So overall, really, really nice chassis, and I think it's going to look like a really, really good build once it's all done. But that'll pretty much conclude the video. Once I get the everything rolling with the brake upgrade, I'll have more videos on that and put it on the Cobra. I'm still debating on the wheels. I know what wheels I want. I just haven't committed to buying them yet. I may do that by the time another video comes out, but we'll wait and see. I'm kind of back and forth on it all the time because this whole stuff, this is a lot just sitting here. This doesn't even count the barrel and the action, which was a significant amount of money as well. Add all that together, that was way, way more than what a set of wheels and tires will cost for the Cobra, but I kind of allocated those funds to this build, so I'm still kind of back and forth on what to do with the wheels and when it's going to happen, but I'm pretty committed to getting those wheels that I really want, and it'll just maybe be a little bit later, or it might be sooner if I get antsy and decide to order them in the next week or so. But I'll conclude the video for now. Any questions about this build, about the chassis system or the rings or the scope, feel free to leave a question down in the comments and I'll get back to you about it. But above all else, thanks for watching.